There is a mental torture that I experienced, and you may be experiencing it too. The endless loop of thoughts that make you physically sick, keeping you awake and making you feel like you're losing your mind, and it has a name. It's called rumination, and it's one of the most devastating weapons in the narcissist arsenal. The worst part? They don't even have to be present for it to be destroying you. They have literally rewired your brain to do their dirty work for them. But here's what I discovered after years of this mental prison. You can break free, and I'm going to talk to you about that. Today, I'm going to share my own story of getting trapped in this mental prison, explain exactly why your brain won't let you rest, and give you tools to break free, because freedom is possible. Let me take you inside of my mind during the worst period of my relationship with Neil. My mind was consumed with thoughts of what I could do differently, how I could change to go back to the way things were. I was constantly trying to pinpoint the turning point, the moment when everything shifted, and what I might have said or done to trigger this transformation. I was desperate to find a way to fix this, to return to the beautiful, loving place that we once shared. Every morning, I would wake up with a glimmer of hope. Maybe today we could talk about what happened the night before. Maybe in the sober light of day, he would acknowledge my feelings, my pain, my confusion. But that conversation never came. Neil would act as if his explosive episodes had never occurred, as if my tears, my pleading, my desperate attempts to understand, none of it had happened. So my mind would start its relentless work, rumination. And here's what it sounded like. I don't even know why he was upset last night. I don't even know what I did wrong. I know he loves me. He told me he loves me. It must be my fault. Maybe I'm making this bigger than it really is. Why is this happening? I can't get through to him. My point must not be valid because he won't acknowledge it. None of this makes any sense. And then the cycle would begin again. I keep trying and nothing seems to be right. Maybe I'm overthinking this. Maybe I'm causing these problems. Why doesn't anything I do or say work? Maybe I'm saying things the wrong way. I just can't get through. None of this makes any sense. How did we get so off track? It must be my fault, and I just can't see it. These thoughts consumed me. They played on an endless loop in my mind, a never-ending cycle of pain and self-doubt that literally made me physically ill. Rumination isn't just thinking about something a lot. It's a specific type of repetitive thought pattern where your mind gets caught in a loop, revisiting the same thoughts, memories, or questions without ever reaching a resolution. After narcissistic abuse, your rumination probably sounds like this: replaying arguments and trying to figure out what you should have said, questioning whether they ever truly loved you, analyzing their behavior for clues that you might have missed, wondering if they're treating others differently, questioning your own reality and memories because of their gaslighting. What makes rumination so insidious is that it feels productive. It feels like you're working towards understanding or closure. But here's the truth. Rumination actually keeps you trapped in the trauma and prevents your real healing. There is a neurobiological reason why you can't stop thinking about how to sort this all out. And understanding this is crucial to your healing. When you experience narcissistic abuse, your brain becomes hyperactive, while your prefrontal cortex, responsible for the rational thoughts, becomes less effective. This creates the perfect storm for rumination. But here's what's happening. Your brain is trying to solve an unsolvable puzzle. You see, healthy relationships operate on logic. When there's a problem, you can usually trace it back to a cause. You can communicate. You can find solutions. You can grow together. Your brain expects this pattern because this is the healthy pattern. But narcissistic abuse doesn't follow logic. There is no right thing you could have said. There was no magic key that would have unlocked their empathy. Their behavior is irrational, unpredictable, and has nothing to do with your worth as a person. But your brain doesn't know this, so it keeps trying to solve the unsolvable, creating deeper and deeper neural pathways of rumination. I need to tell you something that might save your health. Rumination can make you physically ill. During my relationship with Neil, I developed debilitating fatigue and digestive problems. I was constantly exhausted, but I couldn't sleep. My body was breaking down, and I couldn't understand why. What I know is that chronic rumination triggers your body's stress responses continuously. It floods your system with cortisol and adrenaline with unhealthy levels, leading to chronic inflammation, digestive issues, weakening immune function, sleep disturbance, cardiovascular strain, and many other types of physical illness. The only time I felt relief was when Neil left for business trips. In those moments of peace, I could feel my mind beginning to untangle itself from the web of the trauma. But as his return approached, the rumination would start up all over again, and my body would brace for impact. If you're experiencing unexplained physical symptoms, please know this. Your body is trying to tell you something. The rumination isn't just in your head. It's affecting every cell in your body. Let me guess some of the questions cycling through your mind. Why does he see me as such an infuriating presence in his life? What could I be doing to cause him so much grief? What is going on inside of him that fuels this constant rage? And why am I always the target? I ask myself these questions thousands of times. And sometimes I would gather my courage and ask Neil directly, what is it? What is it that's at the core of your displeasure with me? What is it that I'm missing? I need to know. He would never give me an answer. Just deafening silence. Oh, and a look that left me feeling uncomfortable and unstable. Now, if this look could talk, it would have said, I cannot believe I have to explain this to you. You cannot be that stupid that you don't see what you are. If you can't figure it out, I'm not going to waste my time telling you. That dismissal left me feeling frustrated, empty, and utterly alone. And here's what I wish I could go back and tell myself. The reason you can't find the answers, it's because you're asking the wrong questions. The question isn't, what am I doing wrong? The question is, why am I trying to make sense of someone who thrives on confusion? Now, let's talk about how to break these cycles. The first technique is pattern interruption. When you catch yourself ruminating, you need a physical action that signals your brain that it's time to switch tracks. And here's some ideas, like maybe a rubber band on your wrist. Snap it. Or stand up and stretch. Or go to the bathroom and splash cold water on your face. Or take 5 deep breaths. Go for a walk. Or just simply say, stop, out loud. The key is consistency. Whatever signal you choose, use it every time. You will literally begin to rewire your brain, creating new pathways that lead away from rumination instead of deeper into it. Here's a second technique. This might sound counterproductive, but instead of trying to force yourself not to think about this, which often makes it worse, schedule specific worry time. Set aside 15 to 30 minutes each day, even longer if you need it, when you're allowed to ruminate freely. And use this time to write down your thoughts without judgment. This journaling process really helped me. And when these ruminating thoughts appear outside of your scheduled time, gently remind yourself, I'll think about this during my worry time and write about it. But right now, I'm focusing on something else. This gives you back control over when and how you process these difficult emotions. One of the most powerful tools for breaking rumination is accepting a difficult truth. Their behavior had nothing to do with you. I spent countless nights trying to understand what I was doing to create the turmoil in our relationship, as I am sure you have as well. I was convinced it had to be me because I was the target of his rage. But here's what I now know. A person who truly loves you will strive to bring joy into your life, not leave you broken and confused. You poured your heart into this relationship. You offered respect, love, tenderness, and unwavering support. The fact that it wasn't received doesn't reflect on your worth. It reflects on their inability to appreciate the gift of your love. One of the cruelest aspects of narcissistic abuse is how they train you to ruminate through their silence. When you desperately needed communication, you got stonewalling. When you needed acknowledgement of your pain, you got dismissal. When you needed them to take responsibility, you got blame shifting. Their refusal to engage is not because you are not worth engaging with. It's a calculated move to keep you off balance, questioning yourself, trapped in a cycle of trying to figure out what you did wrong. The silence was never about you not being worth an explanation. The silence is their way of maintaining control. Here's a powerful exercise that helped me break free from rumination. Write your story from the perspective of someone who understands narcissistic patterns. Look back at your relationship with the knowledge that you're gaining now or that you have now. See the red flags that were invisible then. Notice the patterns of manipulation, the cycles of love bombing and devaluation. This isn't about blaming yourself for not seeing it sooner. No, this is about reclaiming your story with wisdom and compassion for the person you are. Someone who loved deeply and gave their all to someone who could not appreciate it. Breaking free from rumination doesn't happen overnight. It's a practice, and it requires patience and self-compassion. There will be days when the thoughts feel overwhelming again, and that's okay. That's natural. But it doesn't mean that you're failing or that you're moving backwards. What I can tell you from my own experience is that freedom is possible. The day will come when you realize you've gone hours, maybe even days, without thinking about this stuff. The grip begins to loosen, not because you've found all the answers, but because you've changed your relationship with the questions. The only respite I felt during those dark days was when Neil was away on business trips. In those moments of peace, I could feel my mind beginning to heal. What I didn't realize then was that peace wasn't dependent on his absence. It was my natural state, buried under layers of trauma and confusion. That peace is still there waiting for you to reclaim it. Your mind deserves to be filled with thoughts of living a full life. Your future dreams, the people who truly value you, not endless loops of someone who didn't appreciate the gift of your love and presence. Every time you interrupt a rumination cycle, even for just a few moments, you are reclaiming a piece of your freedom. You're telling your brain that you refuse to stay trapped in someone else's dysfunction. The questions that haunted me for so long finally have answers, but not the ones I was looking for in rumination. The answer isn't, what did I do wrong? The answer is that I deserve so much better than what I'm receiving. And so do you. If you have been on this channel before, I welcome you back. And if this is your first time, I am Grace, and I am happy that you found this channel. We have so much to discuss here, and we are just getting started. If this resonates with you, please subscribe. The comment section is open for your experiences and your thoughts. Thank you for being here. Let's choose healing and thriving and finding peace and joy.